Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. So, I'm gonna be honest, this whole Luke is dead sort of thing is just not working for me. It felt very underwhelming. For just a couple of different reasons. I remember I was not there talking yesterday about her name was Abby, Michael's girlfriend that got killed off screen because apparently they just didn't really seem like they gave a damn about actually giving her a proper death. So it was like, nah, we'll just take her out off screen. Um, Now Tracy comes over and she tells, well, yesterday she was like, Luke is dead. I was like, yeah, I'm not feeling it. And then, she's talking about how this cable accident happened with a bunch of cars and then they found his remains. And I'm just like, no, 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 no. And it was one of those things where when they were in a hotel and Kevin was there telling Nicholas about, Luke's death and stuff like that. And, Victor was like, it just seemed in such a trivial way. And at first Kevin was like, bro, there was a lot of people that died and you just gonna sit there and say it was trivial? But he was like, it's trivial for Luke because Luke is larger than life. Going out in a blaze of glory seems more about his speed than I don't know, just going out and some car crash. Really? It's Luke Spencer right there. This is Luke Spencer. Hell, even my dad remembers watching the wedding between Luke and Laura. This guy goes out in like some car fire. So when Bobby was sitting there crying and Tracy was sitting there being upset, it was like I'm not trying to sound like a dick or anything like that, but I'm just so not feeling it. Um, Now she did sit there and say something to Brooklyn as far as the baby is concerned, like, how long you gonna sit there and keep up the charade or whatever. So I'm interested to find out about that. Um, Ned is going through with the adoption, and I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. I, I don't. I understand that people have, in their relationships and stuff like that, they go through their ups, their downs, their challenges, infidelity, boredom, all sorts of things. I think for me, my issue as far as him adopting Leo wasn't so much as the way that Olivia treated Ned. But I felt like that whole time when they were going through their stuff and, autism came up and stuff like that, and Ned was like, I'm concerned about him too. He's practically like my son. Throughout that whole time, she made it seem like that wasn't the case. Like Leo was just hers, and that was it. Like I don't know, like in a way, kind of shutting him out as far as like Leo being a parent in 1 second in his life. And granted, I understand emotions is high and things like that. It's just when I look at that, I'm just like, and what's to stop her from doing that again? Not just shutting you out of your life with her, but also her son. Because I don't know how these things work as far as adoption and who has what rights and stuff like that, but just on an emotional level, I feel like she's just very quick that when she gets angry or whatever, she's willing to sit there and do something like that. And just for me, it just feels like it's just too unstable to want to sit there and put myself through that on an emotional level as much as I could sit there and love Leo and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't. With her, she gives me too much reservations as far as adoption. But I'm like, all right, bro. Um, no, I'm trying not to be a dick, but I just didn't like how that whole thing unfolded. And it wasn't so much that the lashing out at him, but when it came towards Leo, it was like, oh, it just had that energy of, well, this is my child, and I'm gonna sit there and go about it the way I feel like, how it should go. And if somebody is able to do that once, do I really want to sit there and take a chance of them doing that again? So yeah, I'm gonna be honest. The whole Curtis and Portia scenes, I didn't care. I did not care whatsoever. All they did was lay in bed, talk about the past, and then talk about their feelings. Which, we didn't get to the most important question. You know, is Curtis Trina's father? When are we gonna get to that little gem? Okay, because I remember them sitting there. She brung it up once when her and Jordan was trapped with the whole carbon monoxide stuff. And what are we supposed to sit there and just pretend that didn't happen? So to be honest, I'm waiting till we get to that part because y'all just laying in bed and talking about the past. I'm to be honest, I really did not care at all. At all. Um, what else we got? Sean seemed like he was screwing over Nicholas as far as PR in the paper, with his company, and just kind of laughed and smiled about it. And because Victor was sent there reading the newspaper because he's old fashioned that way. Um, he was doing that. Nicholas got there, and then Sean came, and he was pretty much sitting there saying like, "Yep, I did it, and I used your money to do it." So thanks. Walked off, and that's when Victor was like, "So you want me to handle that?" Because you know how I handle things, right? I mean, I could just take care of that whole thing for you. But he was like, no, that's just not how we do things. I was like, okay, that's not how we do things now. But I mean, come on, it wasn't that long ago that you decided to handle things your way. But anyway, he said he wouldn't do it. And towards the end of the episode, he goes over to. I don't feel like reaching down every time I want to sit there and get my water, but I don't like the idea that my water is right by my laptop. Um, 'Cause I'm pretty clumsy, so yeah, we're not gonna do that. Nope. Not doing that. Sean comes over to Alexa's place and pretty much asks her to, you know, work under him as far as being an editor or some sort of position where she can kind of oversee stuff and he wouldn't have to sit there and be kind of micromanaging every little thing. And there's nobody that he trusts more than Alexis, so I don't know. She's still sitting there waiting on that whole, background check to be as far as a teacher. But I doubt that that's gonna like work out at all. Now, Bobby does get over to Laura's place and she finds out and she's devastated. And then, she's like, it didn't seem like it was like an accident. It seemed like somebody did that on purpose. And we gotta sit there and try to see who it is. But Laura's like, no, it was an accident. These things just happen. So we should just like let it go. And on one hand, I'm like, all right, I get it. Sometimes freak accidents does happen. But let's think about this for a minute. It's a little expensive. We're not even gonna sit there and just kind of be a little more kind of curious about the whole thing. How many enemies do you still have roaming the globes? We're just gonna just okay, sure, whatever. I honestly tell you the truth, I'm not gonna lie. I and then Victor is on the phone and he's just saying that Luke's been neutralized, and I say neutralized because the instant didn't say killed. So I don't think. Listen, I don't feel like they just killed off Luke like that. Like off screen, Luke is too much of an important character on this show to just be killed off screen. So I think he probably has them somewhere. Um, Maybe going to be used as a bargaining chip or something. That's my guess. And what I'm not gonna lie, what I actually wound up doing when you know, after yesterday, I want to go on Wikipedia because usually here's the thing: sometimes if somebody passes or whatever, it's because like in real life, and that's why they killed them off, you know, in the show. But this wasn't one of those cases though. So and wow, dude is like 74 years old. Oh my goodness. Um, So as far as Wikipedia is concerned, he's still alive. So yeah, Brooklyn is still feeling hella guilty. Every day she wakes up, and every time you sit there and talk about she's a good mother, or he's gonna be a good uncle to Leo, or I mean, Leo's gonna be a good uncle to her. She always just has that look of guilt, because it's just piling on and piling on and piling on. She got that thing going. She has a whole thing going with Chase. She got a lot going on. Oh, and Drew is back. He was talking to Monica. He wants answers. Of course, Valentine wanted answers also, and he got stopped by Bobby. And of course, Valentine was sitting there talking to Alexis for a little bit about Nelly falling off the wagon. Um, but eventually, Valentine and Drew meet up because they both want the same thing. They both want to sit there and talk to Peter. But Valentine's like, listen, this guy can mind control you and just have you do whatever he wants. Maybe for, I don't know, everyone else's sake, we don't like poke the bear, as in you don't talk to him. And that's, I was sitting there thinking about it. Monica was like, I can't sit there and stop you just like I can sit there and stop, Jason. Because he wants answers, but my whole thing is like, why would you go to the one person who can literally sit there and mind control you and think that you're going to get some sort of straight answer? What are you going to do? You're just going to walk in there like, Peter, la 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 la. That's going to be a solution? Because I would love to see that. That would be hilarious. And I would sit there and react to it. And we can all sit there and have a good laugh. But I doubt that's going to happen. Um, I'm not gonna lie, I'm just gonna take a picture of him do that. But Valentine's like, yo, it's not a good answer. I mean, that's not like you shouldn't do it. They talk about ELQ for a little bit, but then Valentine's like, yeah, I got your shares because of Sam. Now, oh yeah, because I don't know exactly how that works. I guess Drew gave his shares to Scout and Danny, which Sam gave the shares to Valentine when she went to see Jason before she decided to kick him to the curb. Um, so I don't really know exactly how much of a threat he can actually be. Maybe he can because he's actually back alive. So who knows? I guess we'll just wait and see. I mean, Ava was in the episode, but she didn't really do too much of anything. To be honest, she literally didn't. I mean, the only thing that she sort of did was remind Nicholas not to poke the bear and to be nice because Victor knows about Nicholas' dirty little secret as far as trying to get take out Hayden. So other than that, she didn't really do too much of anything. She was just kind of there. And Tracy comes to the house to sit there and inform everyone about Luke and his passing. I'm sorry. I can't sit there and do it with any sense of like I just it's not that I don't care. It just seems so underwhelming. But she goes there and she tells everyone, and everyone's like, we got to sit there and do a funeral and let everyone know. They talk about Sky. They talk about Dylan. Which I have to remember. I get it's so weird when they sit there and talk about Dylan because I don't think about the other actor that played Dylan. I think about the first one that's now playing Liam on B&B. But they say they're gonna sit there and let them know and let Ethan know and what's gonna happen when Lulu wakes up and I'm like, yeah, I don't know about the whole Lulu thing. I mean, it's so weird the way that they just kind of just let her go. Because I feel like that wasn't even her choice. It seemed like it was just more ABC's choice to just kind of like, all right, well, you're kind of done. You're done, and Justin's done, and Dev is done. I almost actually forgot his name. But then, well, Oscar was a separate story. But the point is, they talked about Lulu, and that's like okay. So let's just double check my notes. Now, before I go, I I want to thank my subscriber for a number of reasons because this came out late. I want to thank you for watching, but also just being a hell of a lot more smarter than me and just having so much knowledge. And, when I sit there and read comments and stuff like that, a lot of times, it helps me either with my reviews or just my perspective on things. And, I was sitting there talking about, the vaccine yesterday and, kicking characters to the curb because they decided they want to do it. And, somebody said something that was really important. I think a couple of people probably said something that was really important. But I remember reading something yesterday, and I would get my phone and try to look who it is, but it's charging, and, I never know if YouTube's going to sit there and take away my comments. What somebody said was as far as getting the vaccine is not because it doesn't prevent people from getting COVID, but it does prevent people from being in the hospital or having so much time away from the set. As far as like, all right, if they're out, they may not be out for that long. Like, Kristen Storm's situation. She may not be in the hospital that long. It may not be as severe, and she can get back to shooting a lot faster. So, when somebody said that, I was like, you know what, that actually makes sense. I was like, I can't even I didn't even sit there and look at it that way. I try to look at things from different points of views. Even if I don't agree with someone and their political views or whatever, I can sit there and try to sympathize or at the very least empathize with someone's choice on why they chose not to do what they did. Now, Steve and Engo, they made the choice that they made. And regardless if I agree or disagree with their choices or whatever, I respect them for making the choices that they made. That's how I always sit there and try to look at things. But it's always nice to sit there and, look at a comment and be like, okay, you know what? I didn't sit there and think of it that way. So, it's all fun as far as like, why I love reading the comment section in general. Plus, when I really screw up, I want somebody to sit there and hold me accountable. I feel like that's about it. I'm not gonna lie, this episode was okay. It wasn't great. They talked about the Luke stuff a lot, and to be honest, I just kind of was like, ugh, okay, like whatevs. Also, it's Luke, so it's not really blah. And, even with Jason, when they were talking about Jason yesterday, it's one of those things where I don't know how I feel about it. I know for soap opera purposes, they kind of gotta talk about Jason, to some extent, but I remember something that, um, Mark Swan said, the guy who made One Tree Hill, which still love that show to this day. He said that sometimes talking about a character when they're not on the show, doesn't necessarily always help the situation. It can sometimes make it more detrimental to the show. And them talking about Jason, sometimes to me, it's just like, because it's one of those things where it's like, well, he chose what he chose, and I respect him for that, but I don't need to sit there and constantly be reminded of one of my guys just kind of, I had to kind of dip out for reasons that are reasons. you know. So yeah. Anyway, with that being said, that's gonna be about it. I want to thank you all for watching. Be safe, and I will see you in the next video.